What is up, posse? My name is Will Torres, and welcome back to another Top 10 video. So, guys have been asking me to do another Top 10 for a while. And since my Top 10 most memorable Disney villains was a big hit, I thought I'd do it again. Only this time, I'm doing the exact opposite. Today's Top 10 list is going to be the Top 10 most forgettable Disney villains. Now, while the most memorable Disney villains left a big impact on a lot of people and will be remembered from time to time, these probably won't. So, just a few quick things before I go into this list. One, as always, this is just my personal opinion, so if you like any of these villains, then that's great. It does not mean you're a terrible person. It's just that these villains just don't stand out to me, and these are ones that I just won't remember anytime soon. And another thing, just because a villain is on this list, that doesn't necessarily mean that I hate the movie. Okay, there will be some exceptions of movies that I don't like on this list. So that's about it, and with that being said, let us begin. The top 10 most forgettable Disney villains. Number 10. Dr. Terminus from Pete's Dragon. Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I don't like the original Pete's Dragon. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I saw it when I was like 10 years old, and I was completely bored out of my mind by it. I mean, it has a little bit of charm to it, and I like the animation that they have on Elliot, but we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the villain, Dr. Terminus. So, this is a guy who looks like he just came out from the circus, or an insane asylum if you wish. And he comes in with an assistant, trying to sell medicine or whatever to people who probably will or will not need them anytime soon. And then he discovers Elliot, and he just wants to capture him and then kill him and then turn all of his body parts into different essences. And that's basically it. I really didn't get invested into this villain. I mean, he had one good part, and that was the song he had with a sidekick, where they were singing about how all different parts of a dragon can heal you. But besides that, I really didn't get into him that much. I thought his dialogue was boring. I thought his design was boring. Overall, he was just not a great villain, and he's not one that I'm going to remember anytime soon. Number 9. CLAYTON from TARZAN. Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. How could you put CLAYTON on this list? Just hear me out. Okay, so first off, I actually like Tarzan. I think it's a good movie. But CLAYTON, he just seems kind of generic. He just seems to be like a combination of Gaston and Governor Radcliffe combined together with no real originality. He's just in it for the fame and the glory and the money, and yeah, it's about as generic as you could possibly get. I mean, he was not awful or anything, but he's just not a villain that I can go back and say, wow, he was such a good villain. He wasn't. He tried to have a little bit of charm in him, and I can tell that the writers were trying to put in some effort into this, but they just made him as predictable and generic of a villain as they possibly could. Honestly, I just don't see myself going back, watching Tarzan, and I could possibly just skip all the CLAYTON scenes that I want. They could replace him with a much more appealing villain, and the movie would be a lot better. And it's already good, but I honestly think that they could have used some better ideas. Number 8. Madame Medusa from The Rescuers. Alright, now this next villain comes from, in my opinion, a very underrated Disney movie, The Rescuers, Madame Medusa. She's kind of like Clayton, to be honest. She's just a combination, she's just kind of generic, with no originality. She just seems to be like the Cruella de Vil and Lady Tremaine combined together, and you got this rich, spoiled lady who just wants to steal some priceless jewels. Now, I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've actually seen the Rescuers, and I know a little bit about it. I know the Little Mice, Bernard, and, okay, maybe I don't know all of it. But Madame Medusa, I think, just doesn't cut out for me. Like, she kind of looks like she just got out of bed. Almost every scene she is in. Just with all the hair and the makeup, she just looks like one of those, ladies from The Devil Wears Prada, or whatever. Yeah, she just looks like one of those spoiled women you see going on shopping sprees. And, I don't know. I mean, The Rescuers is a fine movie. Not very memorable, but a decent flick. But this is a villain that, doesn't cut the cake. She's like Clayton, as about as generic as possible. And that's about it. Number 7. Queen Narissa from Enchanted. Okay, so I actually should have pointed out that live-action Disney movies counted as well, even though this was somewhat live-action. Mostly a combination of, animated and live-action, since a majority of the movie takes place in New York City. So Queen Narissa is kind of like supposed to be the evil queen, Maleficent, and again, no originality. I mean, she doesn't have any memorable lines. She doesn't have any songs that I'm gonna remember. And in fact, hell, I don't even know if she even had a song. That's how bad I thought she was. And when she turned into a dragon in Enchanted, I was just like, oh jeez, they're ripping off Sleeping Beauty here. Even though Enchanted had some ideas, to be honest, and I thought it was also a decent movie. But Queen Narissa? Holy cow. I just can go on and on about what I don't like about her. I mean, her design is okay, even though it's clearly a ripoff of Maleficent and the Evil Queen. Well, mostly just the Evil Queen. But I just don't see Queen Narissa ever being a great Disney villain. I mean, if she's trying to be like the Evil Queen and Maleficent, she is way behind. Because the Evil Queen and Snow White, I believe I put in the top 3 villains of all time, of my top 3 Disney villains, most memorable. But Queen Narissa just has no originality. She's a ripoff of some of the most famous villainesses of all time. I'm just going to call them villainesses from now on. And I'm just going to make the assumption that they are not going to make an Enchanted sequel anytime soon. Number 6. Edgar Balthazar from the Aristocats. Okay, so Edgar Balthazar of the Aristocats. Some of you have mixed opinions about this movie. Some of you like it, some of you hate it, others thought it's okay. I honestly don't really have a really strong opinion about this movie. I mean, it has some fairly good moments, but also not so much. And Edgar Balthazar is one of those not so much moments. Because he is a complete doofus. I'm serious. He's a complete doofus. Watch the movie if you don't believe me. I mean, he literally believes that cats have 9 lives, and that he will be long gone before the cats even die. Hello! Can you be that stupid? I mean, a villain is supposed to be intelligent, not stupid. I mean, you have Gaston, you have Hades, you have Jafar. Those were all intelligent villains. But this guy, no! He's a horrible villain. This guy is just terrible. But thankfully he's not the worst, and we will get to that soon. So, yeah, he's a complete doofus. He's just your generic evil butler from London or whatever. And, yeah, he's just not gonna be recognized as, oh, he was a fun villain. No. Number 5. Bowler hat guy from Meet the Robinsons. Okay, so I remember a little bit about Meet the Robinsons. Not a whole lot, but I remember that it had a little bit of charm and some memorable characters. However, the bowler hat guy, I'm just gonna go into quick detail. His backstory is just not that interesting. Because if you've seen the movie, then you probably would or would not agree with me. But for those of you that haven't, then I'll let you go see it for yourself and tell me what you think. But also his design was as generic as you possibly can. I mean, he has a hat that comes alive as kind of a robot. Kind of random, don't you think? Jeez. Yeah, and he was just completely over the top, like, prepare to be amazed! Ha ha ha. So, to make a long story short, the bowler hat guy is kind of bland, generic, just your everyday, over-the-top villain. And I will say this, I am glad that I saw Meet the Robinsons, even though that was quite a long time ago. I think it was like 2010 or 2011 or something? I have no idea. But the bowler hat guy, I just didn't see myself getting a laugh out of, and he just doesn't cut out for me. Number 4. The Ringmaster from Dumbo. Alright, so the Ringmaster at Dumbo is a little bit of an improvement. I mean, you have, in the movie Dumbo, when kids are making fun of Dumbo for his big ears, his mother, Jumbo, is furious about it and starts kind of attacking the kids, which infuriates the Ringmaster. So he puts her in a cage. However, he's clueless as to what his climax is. That is kind of his downfall. If you can't think of what your big plan is going to be, then why bother come up with it at all? But he does come up with Dumbo jumping out of a giant apartment, or fake apartment. If you've been to a circus before, then you know what I'm talking about. It's where somebody like jumps off a giant platform, and they try to land on this little net trampoline thing. While done many times before, it does get your attention. Too bad that this doesn't, because it doesn't take us so long until like it takes us until the end of the movie for the plan to actually successfully work. And I know I'm going to spoil this for all those who haven't seen Dumbo, but I'm sorry, I just got to get this out of the way. And the Ringmaster, he's just a clueless idiot. I mean, locking away the mother? Okay. That'll separate Dumbo from his mom. I'm sure that'll create some good separation. No, he doesn't really do anything else about that. So, the Ringmaster, somewhat better, but still not a good villain. Number 3. Governor Radcliffe from Pocahontas. Okay, so another thing I want to get out of the way. And I know a lot of you don't really like Pocahontas, but to be honest, I kind of like it. I mean, it's not great or anything, not a classic, but I think it's fairly good. Kinda. But Governor Radcliffe sucks. Yeah, Governor Radcliffe just is also a generic villain, where he's just in it for the fame and the glory. Kind of like when I told you about what my opinion about CLAYTON. I mean, I did like his songs where they were digging for the gold in the New World, or not the New World, but in Jamestown. And the Savages song before, you know, they confront the Native Americans about whether or not John Smith is going to live or not. So, but other than that, Governor Radcliffe just didn't cut out for me, and I'm surprised they brought him back in that sequel. Which I probably will do a shit amount of sometime in the future. But Governor Radcliffe, I mean, it's actually pretty funny, because I actually got a picture with him. Hold on a second. I gotta find it. There we go. You right there? Yeah, I wasn't smiling because they told me not to smile. It's all about him, not you. That's what the camera guy told me. So Governor Radcliffe, while enjoyable for his songs, for his regular character, not so much. I just don't see him. Sorry about that, it's my ADHD. Yeah, Governor Radcliffe, I just don't really see going anywhere. And if they make a live-action Pocahontas, which I don't really think they should make, because, let's be honest, I think the first one is fine, it doesn't need anything else, and the sequel was unnecessary as well. But if they do make a live-action Pocahontas, then I think they need to make a better villain other than Governor Radcliffe. Make somebody that's deceiving, and diabolical. Try to trick people into thinking, you know, it's for all of you instead of it's just for me, in it for the money, and it's carrying on that stupid little pug. Number 2. Shan from Mulan. I know this can't come as a shock to most of you, but Shan Yu can definitely go down as, I think it's safe to say, as one of the most forgettable Disney villains. Now, while I enjoyed Mulan, while I think it's a good film, and while I'm somewhat I'm pretty excited for the live-action remake coming out soon. Well, not soon, it's gonna be a while before that happens. I just thought that this villain just didn't stand out that much. I mean, there's two things I remember about him. One, he had like a hawk with him, which was kind of cool at times. And two, there was only one line I remember from him. How many men does it take to deliver a message? I have no idea why I was sounding like Batman there. But other than that, his design is boring, his dialogue is boring, and here's a tip, producers and makers of the new Mulan movie coming out. Make your villain interesting. I'm serious. Make it interesting. Make him like, oh, I don't know, Jafar or something like that. Then he would probably be better. But besides that, I remember little to nothing about this guy. And I think it's going to stay that way for quite some time. Alright, so we've gone through 9 of the most forgettable Disney villains. But there is one left. So, with that being said, drum roll please. And the number 1 most forgettable Disney villain is Alameda Slim from Home on the Range. Now, Home on the Range is definitely a shit'ema in the process, sometime in the future. And I think it's safe to say that, because I was talking to Jessup about this, and he said that this movie goes in one ear and out the other. And he is actually right, to be honest. Thank you for that tip, Jessup. That's your shout out for today in this video. And I say that the villain was definitely among the weakest parts of this movie. I mean, he's just your generic bad guy with no motivation at all. He's just there to rob a bank. He's an outlaw on the run and blah blah blah. I mean, the only good thing about him was his song. But other than that, I have no clue about this guy. I don't remember I don't remember his name, even though it's likely going to be in this video. I'm not going to remember his dialogue, because, let's be honest, we're not going to remember a single thing about this movie after we see it. Yeah, and yeah, like I said before, Home on the Range is likely one of the, if not the worst Disney movie ever made. And we're gonna get to that for a shit'ema possibly sometime in the future. And the villain definitely doesn't stand out. He's about as generic and predictable of a villain as you could possibly get. They were just being completely lazy with their work. So yeah, that just about does it for this list. Alright, so thank you ladies and gentlemen for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, then be sure to like this video and comment if you will. And make sure to subscribe to Alpha Wolf Productions as well. So next video coming up will be a review of Cars 3. I know it's been getting a few decent reviews. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what it brings to the table. So, until next time, see you later, posse.